Hello, good evening to you all. Day 40 of our 99-day program, our 99-day journey together. It's Friday evening, 8 o'clock. I don't expect many to join, but I'll wait a few minutes or seconds to see if anyone wants to join today. And I realized my irregular live session planning these last 10 days, and even the weeks before, that make it really easy to join me live. So I hope you all have found your own rhythm to see my session, most likely the day after or the same day, but then in the evening. So to integrate it as a pattern within your life, which is most easy for yourself. Like some of you I know do it daily when they wake up, or some of you do it at the end of the day before they go to sleep, and it really helps to integrate kind of disciplined hour or time of the day to work with this. Kind of it's your me time to focus on this session and have some little time before or afterwards to contemplate on it, or let it sink in, or whatever happens during the session or after the session. So today I want to talk about family matters, and it's I think a very sensitive and intense topic. It has everything to do with relationships, and I consciously choose to discuss relationships at three different levels, perhaps even 4. So I already did a session on the mirror effect of relationships, any relationship you have with friends or colleagues, but not the intimate relationship with your partner, and not the family matters, the family relationships. So today I want to talk about the family matters, and there will be another session about the relationship with a partner in life, or with boyfriends, girlfriends, the intimate romantic relationships. And I think that the relationships that are existing in families are the ones that most influence you in life. Because when you grow up, from baby till you leave the house, so many things influence you as a person. And then in this case, your identified self. And everything actually that happens in your early youth kind of covers up who you really are. I mean, there are exceptions where the upbringing of parents who are awake themselves, so their conscious parenting leaves much growth for development of the deeper level of the child. But most of us, I think, have grown up with less conscious parents, and they have taken their programming, their experience, their background, their history, their traumas. It's taken into the relationships with the children. And so these family patterns are deeply ingrained actually in our system, in our cells. And it even goes generations back for some patterns. And that's why you see a lot of similar things happening generation after generation in families. So it's really, really useful to look at what happened from an observation point of view, to look what your circumstances were when you grew up and what it is that you actually took over from your parents or grandparents, and what it is that your siblings, if you have any, are projecting onto you. Because all your siblings are in influence with the same patterns, but as every being has his own challenge in life, his own, you can call it a life mission or a soul mission, or as his unique being. We all deal different with the situation we grow up in. And if you have siblings, then you recognize probably that your sister or brother react completely differently while they grow up with the same parents. So there's a lot of personal or uniqueness in every being. Otherwise, you would be the same person. And what's often very remarkable is the position in the family you have, whether you are the eldest, the second-born, the third-born, fourth-born, or you are a single child, really influences how you grow up. And the pattern that is there with the siblings is a really tough one to break and to heal with each other. And to me, that's really interesting, because you would expect, if you have had a safe or more or less safe childhood, where at least the upbringing was not violent, not abusive, then you would expect that the family you grew up in has given you a safe basis to learn and explore, and if the family is still together, now you have past the age of 30, 40, 50, or even older, then you would expect that this safe place with your family from your youth is exactly the place where you can grow and learn. But so often it's actually the contrary. So often it's so difficult with siblings or with parents to heal that. And I don't really understand why it's so difficult. It's sometimes more easy with your intimate or life partner or with friends to heal things than it is with family. So then the next question always rises for me: why is family so important to people? Besides the cultural value that some cultures have, what is it that family makes or plays such an important role in our lives? You can leave friends, but you cannot leave family very easily. That goes with a lot of conflict, and your family would simply not understand you if you would leave them and choose to spend more time or don't spend time with them. Because we don't all like our family. They're a given, they're not chosen by you. And at the same time, there is this kind of unconditionality within families. That's kind of like, because we're family, we stick together. And it is pure essence that should be, I think, as it's meant to be, because this family bond is actually where we feel the connection we so long for as human beings. We feel the connection, that it's always there, like your family is always there for you somehow. Even if the relationship is bad, then still the family has this unwritten, unsaying thing, like we're there for each other in whatever weird version it comes up. But just merely because you are family. And that seems to be enough. But if the family doesn't bring you that much, or actually blocks you in your personal growth, or there is this feeling of going different ways, then what makes us that we still want to stick with family? Is it because society expects us from us? Like it's not done to leave your family? Or is it something that's a deeper layer, like this blood connection tells us actually something different? And I don't really have an answer to that, and it's obviously very different for each and every one of us. What experience and traumas and pain we have endured while we grew up, or are still enduring while we're in relationship with our family, the one we grew up in. When I talk about family this time, it's not your own family and your own children, but the ones, the siblings and your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. And as all, no, not all, but most of our traumas, big ones, little ones, are happening in our youth and are mostly happening in a family situation, then what makes it difficult to heal them? Why is it difficult to be vulnerable in your family? Why is it difficult to be vulnerable with your siblings? Why does it often feel that you're judged by them, or that they can't see your growth or your changes? And it's not applicable to all families. Some families have great support to each other. But still, there's always some friction around family. Something we tend to accept when we think about our family. Things we wouldn't accept when it concerns other relationships we have. And the patterns go deep, especially with the roles in families. They go very deep. And that's why constellation work with family issues is so healing, because you can really heal over generations of old traumas that we unconsciously take with us in our genes, in our cells, from previous family members. And because these patterns are so deep and very unconscious, and the pain is often so deep, at deep levels, and very unconscious, it's probably the reason why it's so difficult to be vulnerable. Because we're not even aware what we are carrying with us. And I don't have any experience myself with abuse within family, but it's known that many people have. And that's actually, I mean, you can't even wrap your mind around it, why that could even happen. Why would you abuse someone you tend to love? whether it's physical abuse or mental abuse, or abuse can come in many different ways. You can only be an abuser, to my knowledge, if you are hurt yourself so much that you cannot feel that pain, so you blame everything on others and project everything on others. And that's why the pattern is repeating, because the abused one then becomes the new abuser in his or her family later when they grow up. And the more subtle versions of abuse, like rejection or being kept very small or not seen, not loved, that your parent or sibling always put you down, made you feel small, that kind of abuse. That is not easily talked about and not easily shared, because it feels like insignificant to other abuse, more like the physical and sexual abuse. You can't compare the two, but at the same time, they are both leaving their marks for you. And there's also a very tricky balance between wanting to take care of your family because they are family members, and at the same time living your life and making your choices. And sometimes even at the cost of your family members, in the sense that you don't have time for them. And that might then feel very selfish. And sometimes people spend more time taking care of their family than they take care of themselves. And that to me feels so out of balance. Because also other family members, your other family members or my other family members, are just persons who are responsible for their life and the choices they make. So taking care of each other should always be, in my belief, in a balanced way, like in a give and take. But I'm a typical one when it comes down to family, because I've explored that at so many different layers, and when you get less identified with or less attached to your own identity, then somehow these family matters get a different color. And like I said before, it's a balance of what you do for yourself and what you do for others, especially when it comes down to family. But at the same time, it's also very difficult to feel the love for yourself in relation to the demands from your family. Because there's so many expectations, there's so many interpretations, there's so many roles already defined, like you have this position in the family, so that's how we treat you. That is this, as I think how family is meant to be, like this unconditional field of love, becomes so conditional. Because there's less free choice, because we feel so obligated towards a family, and there's less free choice to step out of it. This condition is kind of can be choking us or can be limiting us. And I'm not implying here that we all should leave our families behind and just continue living by ourselves and don't really care. I'm just inviting you here to become conscious, very conscious of the deeper patterns within your family and where your responsibility is in this matter. Because even being okay with the patterns means that you take less responsibility of your role. And then the pattern continues to exist. So if we want to heal our families and our old patterns and our old systems, then I think we can start with healing ourselves. And that's exactly actually what we're doing here in this 99 days. And healing the family issues is most difficult ones. But therefore also the most freeing ones. So if you feel ever stuck on a problem during this process or this journey, then it's most likely, as his origin or his birth, this problem has been created within your family. If you have challenges in finding healthy relationships with partners, then that's most likely a pattern that can relate back to family issues. Will you able to feel safe at home when you were young? Do you still feel able to feel safe and secure at home when you are there? Because if you don't feel safe there, it's so difficult to feel safe with a partner. And it's not one way or the other. It's not like you can't have a healthy relationship if you haven't dealt with your family matters. But anything that comes up in a relationship with your partner is probably most likely also something that comes up in your family patterns. So the mirror effect of relationships I shared about a couple of days ago is the fact that where you have consciously chosen friendships for reasons that you were conscious of. So, I mean to say that you have chosen your friends because you were expecting something in that friendship. And some of that you might expect in a friendship which you couldn't receive at home, or you can't receive at home. So it's kind of all interlinked. So if you look at your relationship with your friends, then you can also look at the relationship with your siblings, with your parents, and the other ones when you were young that were really important for you. Perhaps you were raised by your grandparents. Then that's an important relationship. And I shared before that we all are completely programmed in our first 7 years of our life, because our brain frequency is then operating at a lower frequency, in this kind of hypnosis state. So we can quickly learn and copy behavior and other values and patterns and way to act and way to react from the persons who raised us. So it makes a lot of sense that everything that happens now in your life has its origin in your early youth. So if you want to look at subjects like vulnerability, the neediness to feel safe and secure, the neediness or the difference in feeling connected or very separated, so these core needs, actually, I would almost say that we need to heal ourselves and to feel complete. How do you feel about these matters when you look at vulnerability and safety and security and being loved, being seen? How do you feel about that when you think about your relationship with your siblings and your parents? And if you have more clarity on that or more insights on that, then can you be completely okay that it has happened in the past? Can you completely accept that that has happened and that it is the past? That was something that influenced you and your identity. But you also have a choice now to let go of that. And to let go of that attachment or the lack belief within yourself. And I know for myself, if I am annoyed and irritated by something that one of my siblings does or another family member does, I know that when I step out of this unconditional love towards them, that I'm out of balance for myself. Like it came up very strongly this week, an old pattern that I thought was healed, was not healed. So I projected this onto someone else. And then obviously it showed up in my family situation where it originally was born and where it was created, this painful experience. So in other words, your family is your biggest mirror ever to learn and to heal. How painful the experience have been. And when the love for yourself is growing and becoming more complete, then you can test it out when you're in connection with your family. If it's still then there, so present, then the love for your family, despite what they did, turns into unconditional love. And even if you are a person in this group that has no relationship with the family anymore, because of what happened in the past, then you can still try to heal that within yourself. Because it still requires healing if the old trauma is still present. And no one else, like I said before, no one else can heal traumas for us. We can only heal traumas ourselves. So your roots are actually like it says, roots. It's the basis for any growth. And for healing ourselves. And if you are doing work on that, it feels most liberating. Because your family will most reflect your worst fears. That's, by the way, another one to look at if you feel stuck with your heart desire or moving out of your comfort zone into an uncomfortable situation. Then try to think of what you're most fearful of. And if nothing comes up, then perhaps try to think of what you fear most in connection with your family. Do you fear most being rejected? Do you fear most not feeling loved? Do you fear most not being seen for who you are? Do you fear most of not being able to be authentic? Do you fear most of not being able to make choices for yourself because you were never asked to do that? You always had to live up to the expectations of others. And this topic, family members, is very difficult because it's such an intense topic and it's so different from situation to situation. How it plays out in your life. So I can only invite you to reflect on it yourself and feel what comes up. And it's, in my experience, not even necessary to discuss everything within the family. But just by healing it within yourself, it already changes the dynamics. Not perhaps as much as I would like to see it changed, but it has changed a lot because I'm different in it. I react differently, so they react differently. So, what is the mirror of your family telling you? What can you learn? What can you take with you? What needs to be healed at a deeper level? Your fears, your feeling of unsafety. And what brings the family? Why does it feel safe? Why does it feel comfortable? Why do you feel happy to belong to family? Why do you feel happy to have family? What does it give you? Does it give you the safety, which is not really a safety, but at least you belong to something or someone or a group? Because in the end, that's all what we want, to feel connected. So what is your family matters, your family relationships bringing to you? What does it give you? And how valuable is that really to you? And then I mean really valuable, or is it just something that you think is valuable, but it's actually covering something underneath that's painful? And with this matter, it's just up to you how far you would like to go to deepen this process. And I really want to emphasize that it's absolutely not necessary to discuss and fight every fight within the family to heal the patterns. If you do the work, you do the work for many generations, before you and after you. So if you heal yourself, you heal for many generations. And you heal for your own family right now. And that's what I think is the most graceful thing to do. And at the same time, most challenging. Because I'm also sometimes, like I was this week, very frustrated and sad, and that it's still not healed completely within me. But it's so different because it's seen and it's been shown so differently to me now that it was only uncomfortable for a few hours. So I hope this helps you in looking more into relationships and what they do to you, for you, and what they where they stop you from growing. Okay, that's it for today. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye.